Game time predictions from Buckeye Talk for Ohio State's playoff semifinal against Georgia at the Peach Bowl on Saturday. These are our determining factors that we think for either one of these teams might be the difference between winning and losing, maybe like the crucial final part of the game plan for both of them. Stephen, what is your game time decision?
I'm wondering how they're going to use running back, and I understand that Maya Williams did practice on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. But, I mean, he missed the other two practices, which are a little bit more vital on Tuesday and Wednesdays. And, we were at the practice on Wednesday. You were at the practice on Thursday. And Dallin Hayden was up first. Chip Shannon was up second in those situations. And, I mean, we don't know how close to 100% Maya Williams is, whether it's from a sickness standpoint or just from a physical standpoint for that standpoint as well. I am very interested to see is it going to be the Maya Williams show, or do they decide to just do running back by committee? Not to the extreme that Georgia does it, but do we see a healthy dose of all three of those running backs? Because at different points of the season, they've all proven to be pretty quality. So, is it by committee? Is it two guys? Is it just a one-man show? I think that's the most interesting thing about this Ohio State team right now, because everything else from a who's a starter standpoint seems to be pretty locked in.
So I'm going on the other side of things a little bit. Georgia is the best third down defense among all Power 5 conferences. I mean, people know that they're Power 5 teams, I should say, and people know how good they are defensively overall. There are some fluctuations to that, things that they're good at, things they're bad at. Preventing third down conversions is something they're great at. The only team in all of football or Division I football that's better than them is Marshall, and then Georgia is number 2. Ohio State is all right at third down conversions. They're only the third best team in the Big Ten at it, though. They're not elite from a national level. And more to the point, last game against Michigan, they were pretty bad at it. They were, I think, 5 of 16 for the game. They were 1 of 7 in the second half. As much as we talk about the explosive plays that Ohio State gave up in that game, the ones that they gave up at the end were a little bit of direct result of having not been able to get any offense going and being in a little bit of a back against the wall situation. This offense can't stagnate against Georgia. And I think there's some opportunities for big plays on explosive plays, and maybe that negates how important it is for them to convert on third down. But I don't think they can have another 1 for 7 performance. I don't even think they can come into a game like this and only convert, a quarter of the time, 30% of the time, and have a chance to beat Georgia, because Georgia is so good, so efficient on offense that it's going to be able to stay on the field too. So Ohio State has to find a way to do two things, and that is kind of what you're talking about with the run game. It doesn't have to be big chunks, but they just can't get behind the sticks on early downs if they're running the ball. And when they run on third down and short, they've got to convert those, and that hasn't always been an easy thing for this team to do. They've got to find a way to do that. I think Maya Williams helps with that as opposed to someone like Dallin Hayden. I think just the way that he runs could help. But then also on third down, there's a slim margin for error. Like you can't, it's basically nil. Like you can't have drops, you can't have miscommunications. Guys have to secure the catch and be across the sticks on third down. You can't have wasted opportunities against Georgia really in any way. I think this is a very winnable game for Ohio State. I don't look at this as a game that Georgia should be running away with, but the line between winning and losing is thin. Just as it was against Michigan, it's going to be the same way against Georgia. They've got to find a way to stay on the field. Just stay on the field and keep putting pressure on this Georgia defense, because it's good, but it is beatable if Ohio State's at its best. Get the text 614-350-3315. It's a $3.99 a month, but a 2-week free trial. So if you're just wanting our updates directly from the field at Mercedes-Benz Stadium before the game, what we're seeing, what we're hearing, who's out there, how they look, analysis, that sort of thing, you can get it from us. And come find us everywhere you can find podcasts right after the game, or as soon as we can get it up. We will have the Buckeye Talk post-game podcast up, breaking down what happens in this playoff semifinal between Ohio State and Georgia here at the Peach Bowl.